Oh, I'd love a shot of Jack.
You're too young, bro.
No, not that young. I shave.
Can you hear me? Okay, this is the Wichita Swing Dance Society, and if you're wondering how I got hooked up with the swing dancing people, is because this is my oldest boy, Brandon. So he's part of the group. See where he gets his good looks from. But I'll turn it over to these guys. Thank you, guys.
I'll just yell.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll just be easier that way. It's a little more friendly that way, right? If I just yell. Cool. Okay, so the name of our group, we're Hot Rhythm Revival. We're kind of like an extension of the Wichita Swing Dance Society. We're a vernacular jazz performance group. We're based in Wichita. We've been around a little over 8 years. Just a couple things to know. When I say vernacular jazz, a lot of people hear jazz and they think, oh God, people wearing black turtlenecks and berets, smoking and snapping in a dark club. They think being stuck trying to find earbuds on a cross-country trip with a person that wants to hear Kenny G's greatest hits. They think of the slowest elevator they've ever been on in their life. Lots of really exciting, terrible things actually that people tend to associate jazz with. What we associate it with is about 100 years ago in Harlem, New York, a certain type of jazz made people want to get up and dance in the Savoy Ballroom. And that's what we like to do. And I promise it's not nearly so dull as all the other things I rattled up. We want to introduce you to a bit of that, show you a little bit of what we do. To start with, we're going to take, like I said, the Savoy Ballroom up in Harlem, New York. We're going to take a number straight out of Harlem. Back in the day, all the clubs in New York, all the singing clubs, all the clubs with dancers, all the clubs with bands, all the clubs with comics, they'd all close down one night of the week, and only one of them would stay open, and they'd take turns. And so all the entertainers could go be entertained. But of course, they'd always have a normal crowd there too. And the problem they'd have was everyone, that many artists and that many performers in one room, there's a little bit of an ego issue to wrestle with. They didn't want to take 45 minutes to introduce everyone, turn it into a giant cat fight over who got the biggest round of applause. So instead they'd get all of them up, they'd let them all do the shim-sham, and be a chance for everyone to be seen, everyone's ego to be stroked a little bit, no one to argue over who was getting the biggest part of that applause, and they could get it done and keep moving along with their night. The singers could do the shim-sham, the musicians could do the shim-sham, the comedians could do the shim-sham, the dancers could do it a little bit better, but everyone could do the shim-sham, and that's what we want to do with you to start our evening. That's not really going to do it. All right, now, dance performance troupes like ours are far from uncommon today. A lot of towns that have a decent sized swing scene will have them in some form or another, and they weren't that rare back in the day either. In 1935, the first real prominent one was formed. There we go. At the Savoy Ballroom in Harlem, New York. George Whitey White got all the best dancers he could find, convinced them to help form Whitey's Lindy Hoppers. They were formed in 1935. By 1937, they're shooting in motion pictures. They're out there, they're doing their thing, they're taking the dance from Harlem out to other places, including California. In 1941, they were out in California. They were shooting some scenes for a movie called Hell's a Poppin'. Go find it on YouTube. It's amazing. And a soundie, yes, it's 1941, so I mean a soundie called Hot Chocolate. We want to take a little bit of what they did there, spice in a little bit of what we do, and mix in just a little bit of holiday cheer. So, we want to do our little version of Jingle Bells. All right, so like we've already talked about, dances up in Harlem, dances out in California by virtue of Whitey's Lindy's Hoppers. It's getting on the silver screen, it's seen everywhere else, but it's also going on down in the southeast. Down in South Carolina, there's a dance called the Big Apple. It becomes pretty big during the 30s. Actually gets prominent enough, so old, that Whitey sends a few of his Lindy Hoppers out to see if there's anything they can use. In fact, they decide there is. In 1937, a film called Keep Punchin', they put together a routine based on the dance from the juke joints of South Carolina, and it's immortalized on film. Now that dance kind of faded away in the 1940s when Lindy Hop became prominent, but that routine lives on in the movie and lives on for a lot of dancers around the country, and that's what we'd like to do for you next. Ladies and gentlemen, the Big Out.